It's that time again. It's the podcast that takes your personal and professional life to a whole new level. Whether you're selling a product, selling a service, or selling yourself, one thing is for sure. You're always selling for life.
All right, and welcome to another installment of the Selling for Life podcast, sponsored by Quota Parts, a world of parts with a personal touch. This podcast is about more than just selling stuff. We think if you stick around, you'll get a lot out of it. And this is episode 47. I'm Steve, joined by Conoquip owner, world traveler, and YouTube sensation Al Alexander. And we're also joined by sales professional and ladies' man Kevin Ziliox. What's up, guys?
How you doing? Whoop, whoop.
Al's joining us by phone today for this podcast. Al, what's going on? Why are you not here?
I'm in our Newfane office.
Oh, you are in the office.
Yeah, I'm in the office. I'm about to leave right after this podcast so I can continue to pack my RV for a 3-week road trip.
Oh, my gosh. What the heck? Where are you going?
We are going across country to see Yellowstone and the Grand Canyon and all the monuments and, things like that around those areas on the way.
That's going to be amazing, and it's with 6 children and your in-laws. Should be a lot of fun.
10 of us in a 34-foot RV.
That sounds like a real blast. Kevin, would you like to do something like that?
No, that does actually. The excursion part of it sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Sounds really cool. How have you been, Kevin?
I'm good. I am in the office, not getting ready to pack my RV and go on a trip.
No?
Thanks for rubbing it in, Al.
Yeah, that's really great, Al. I think you're going to have a blast. It's going to be nice to have management away for 3 weeks.
I know. It's like a weight off our shoulders right now.
Even if you're good friends with the management, your boss, it's still better when he's gone.
Dude, cats away, the mice will play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the mice are away, the cats will stray. One
or
of
that, whatever the other.
Yeah, whatever works for you. Okay, Kevin and Al, do you know what time it is now?
It is time for news headlines.
Al, what do you got?
Dude, can you believe it that Iran shot down one of our unmanned airplanes in international airspace?
Crazy.
Like, yes. I'm freaking out. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be World War III.
Dude, that will be sweet. We're going to annihilate them.
Well, when you have a president like Donald Trump, there's nothing to fear because he will not back down. He'll take care of business. So it'll be over before it even begins.
That's true.
Exactly. Well, yeah. I tell you what, to be completely honest with you, what's really cool is when something happens like this. He's in a press conference this morning, and they ask him, and he's like, hey, what are you going to do? And he says, well, you'll see. Believe me, you'll see.
Yeah.
He just doesn't let anyone know anything, which is the way it's supposed to go.
Our former president would have given away all the details, all the plans. He would have given a timeline of...
Oh, no, he would have been really annoying to hear talk about it. Whereas Trump, you're like, oh, let's get ready to rumble.
That's right. We've got a guy here. We got a guy here in the office that is either trying to ignore us or I don't know. He's not listening. Bob over here. He's a big
Hillary supporter. He's still been. He hasn't stopped crying in 3 years.
It's not fair. He's not on him.
Oh boy!
I have to jump on the mic for that. I'm not a Hillary supporter. I hate Hillary.
Right.
I just hate Trump as well. That's all.
Oh,
that's
please.
All. Okay, he's back. He's going back to work. That's our computer guru, the data mining expert.
Shocking that he's a computer guru.
Kevin, what do you have for a story?
You know what? I didn't even. You caught me off guard here.
I did. I just kind of grabbed you in.
I don't even have one.
All right, I'll take over.
But I like that one that that's pretty awesome. I could talk about that for hours.
The one story that I thought was interesting was NBC's Chuck Todd, as you may or may not know from NBC. He's kind of a liberal guy. Apparently, Alexandria, whatever Cortez, the really brilliant politician on the left, she compares the holding cells or the border facilities that they have for illegal immigrants. She called them concentration camps. And Chuck Todd on NBC said they're not anything like concentration camps. Well, now the left is all ganging up on Chuck Todd for even questioning this comment about them being concentration camps. And I just find that so funny when you have people that call things certain things, and they're not, but they believe that they are, and they push this agenda forward. And then you have someone on the left who actually has a little bit of common sense. They come out and say something in opposition, and I like to say the left starts eating their own. It's just amazing, like how much flack Chuck Todd is getting now from even hinting that these places are not quite like concentration camps from Nazi Germany.
He's a Dem?
No, so
yeah,
he is. Yeah, and AOC. You're talking about Alexandria Ocasio,
right?
So like AOC has this concept that she's going to try to pull up a narrative.
Yes.
And the media has to pick it up, and he totally shot that down. Like, oh man, the narrative stopped with one of your own. That's not the plan, people.
Right.
And they're freaking out.
Right. Exactly. Now I was having a conversation with Bob earlier today. How it's amazing how people will believe certain things despite the obvious evidence against it, and it's strange to me. I know we're all affected by bias. We all have our own biases, but for the most part, Al and Kevin, don't you kind of just see things the way they are and just make judgments based on that, as opposed to so many people out there that they, like you said, Al, they come up with this narrative and they believe this narrative whether it's true or not. Like Trump is a racist, right? But you ask them to back up their comment. Well, why is he a racist? Well, they can't really point to anything.
I think at this point, because we've been dealing with that for 3 years now, I think it's getting to the point where even the people on that side are getting a little tired. Okay, well, it's not that serious. It's not, and it's starting to become now to the point where they're just falling on deaf ears.
Yes,
there's only that extremist few that buy into the crap.
Right.
So it worked a little bit.
For a little bit.
And now it's like, okay, well, they're not concentration camps.
Right.
Be realistic, because we want to have a fair shot at this upcoming election. So you're going to have to be serious for a minute.
Kind of like,
you know what I mean?
Kind of like the Black Lives Matter movement that gained, that had some momentum for a little while until they realized, okay, I don't think white cops are going around the country, just gunning down, minorities left and right, just for the thrill of it, just for sport. And so I don't think that movement is
narrative
continuing.
died out.
Right. Al, anything else? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I tell you, no, I was going to mention, you're talking about the dream of the Walter Cronkite era, where a newsman got on the TV and he spoke about the news and then had a crazy amount of narrative and opinion that we're so, like you said, almost jaded by it all. Like, how do we get back? How do we get back to the concept of what it used to be?
Gosh, that'd be great. That would be awesome.
So where are we going to get the information from? That we just basically have to take this crap, filter out all the good stuff, and just eat the corn, which sucks.
Yeah,
it's actually more interesting the way it is now. I guess maybe.
Well, news used to be all facts,
right? And
now it's
narrative.
Narrative is what it's
exactly
become.
What
but there is I don't have cable in my house because, well, I don't see any reason for it. And there's an app on my TV. I think it's called Y News, and their slogan is something to that effect of the facts, not not the
hyperbole.
Narrative. Basically,
Yep.
Which is pretty cool because it truly is. They just give you facts, basically.
That's boring.
Well, no, I don't mind it because, I don't even watch world news anymore.
Yeah, I don't.
It's either local news or I don't watch news.
So Donald Trump has launched, I guess, his 2020 campaign, correct?
Yeah.
And do you think Hillary's going to run again?
I hope so.
Me too. Because, as you know, she failed the first time around, right?
She did?
Yes, she did. She failed, but she's coming back again because she's not going to let failure stand in her way. And that brings us to the topic of the day. And the topic of the day is overcoming failure. How?
Ooh, nice lead-in.
Nice segue, right?
Yeah.
I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that don't work. Who said that?
Oh, that's Thomas Edison.
That's right. How did you know that?
Yes. Oh, I love quotes from Thomas Edison. He was awesome.
Right. Well, if you ask any sales professional what they fear most about their job, it would have to do something with failing to close a deal, failing to meet a quota, failing their clients' expectations in one form or another. Fear of failure affects all of us in all of our lives in many areas. Fear of failing is actually worse than actually failing. We second guess ourselves, we hesitate, we avoid situations, and we end up missing out on opportunities. Al, it's inevitable.
Yeah.
We are all going to fail at something. If and when it happens, when we fail, how do we move on? Al, let's talk about that. Failure.
Well, I tell you what, you hit the nail on the head when you mentioned fear of failure. I think it's the death to entrepreneurship, it's the death to sales. I was just having an interview earlier with a person who hasn't done sales yet, but wanted to be in it. And I was discussing and trying to understand what his risk reward level is, and can he handle rejection and failure. We were trying to talk about overcoming things in his life that would give me, kind of an insight on whether he could do that. He didn't do it necessarily for a living, because sales is all about handling rejection. But for the interview, how it went, he kind of uncovered some things that he's got an entrepreneurial spirit. There was a few character traits that I thought, he has tenacity. He has, that kind of water off the duck's back, not going to let anything get me down kind of attitude. And I think that's necessary as a sales rep. You'll die within months if you don't have that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what happens, though, when you're on the job, specifically when it comes to sales, and you do fail, and you have that big letdown? You might even fail your company. You'll lose an account or something. How do you pick up and move on from there? What are some suggestions, Al?
Well, first off, just keep in mind, especially if you're in a sales cycle that is long, where you do have a minimum amount of contacts that you're making throughout, the year versus, the high transactional type of sales, which almost gets you used to failure. Mm-hmm. But when you're in that mode, it's all about perspective, right? It's all about like knowing where you are, right? So my first step and advice to anybody is to actually take stock, right, of your reality. Mm-hmm. Most people are creating this emotional fear that's not based on any facts. Okay. So my first step in my own life, and I suggest everyone does this, whether you're the owner of something, whether you're a sales manager or in sales in general, is to take stock of the facts. So counting your activities, counting your results, counting how much time you put in versus reaping the reward. If you don't know that, then you are going to have these bouts and high and lows of emotional fear and or fear of failure or feeling down when something goes wrong. So like first step is that.
Okay. Another step towards getting over a failure, Al?
All right. Second step, talk to somebody who likes you. I know it sounds stupid. But so after I know my facts, where I really am, I go ahead, I call up a customer that I know likes me. I call up 5 of them, or I talk to people, in my funnel that, juice me back up, keep me back to reality. Like, hey, I service this person well, or these people well, and they enjoy talking to me. I can get another account moving for them. There's a lot of positives in doing that. So you jump right back on the horse immediately without any moment of wallow. Okay. You just don't sit around.
Kevin, what do you do when you fail?
That's
have you ever failed?
Plenty, obviously. So yeah, obviously you want to get right back to it. That's the way I look at it. Is get back on the horse, obviously, and if you're the type of person that really beats up, personally, is think about your accomplishments.
Okay.
You know?
All right, so that's a great suggestion.
Yeah, I mean, okay, your situation isn't actually that bad. Think about where you've gone, what you've been through,
right?
And put your mind there, and then just get back on the.
There you go.
Get back on.
So kind of.
Everybody's different, though. Some people handle it. You know, I've seen people, especially in this type of sales work, where when they when they fall off, you know, it's like you're like, man, he's a different person right now. Whoa.
Yeah, and that's going to affect.
And that comes out of them,
right?
Where you know you like if I can see it in them and I don't interact with them that much.
Gotcha.
The person that deals with them daily, like a customer or a client or something like that, they're really going to notice it.
Okay, so don't be ruled by your thoughts and feelings.
Right.
Use failure as a guide, and
count your blessings.
Visualize success. Those are 3. And I guess probably I'll throw the last one in here, and that is don't take rejection or failure personally.
Yeah, it's just business.
Yeah.
And they basically, like when you come up against, you know, the process of sales should involve investigation, which hopefully uncovers rejection. It uncovers objection. And you just basically need you want to take care of somebody. So you might come to a point where it's just not right. And you should both come to that. It's kind of like being, in a relationship. And all of a sudden the girl breaks up with you,
right?
And you're like, what the heck happened?
Right.
Like, dude, if you're asking like what the heck happened, then you probably aren't observant enough that you have another girlfriend.
Right.
So,
right.
So like, I mean, you should know like what's happening, be aware. And that's what I was saying. My first step is always take stock of where I really am, my reality. Because too many people live in a world of, make believe almost for themselves.
Or like how Kevin will approach something like that. He'll just get back on the horse again.
That's true. Dude, with dating especially, that's the best way to get over it.
Just visualize the successes you've had and move on.
That was a horrible segue, dude.
Man.
All right. Well, that's good stuff. Al, let's wrap this up because you got to get on the road. It is now time for your inspirational thought, which is usually a punchline, but just take it away.
Oh, if you're Kevin and you just been rejected by your 56th woman this year, I apologize first off to the woman.
Yeah.
And second, he'll be getting back on the horse. So beware, ladies. Beware all the ladies of Elma.
Yeah. And obviously, I guess the best way to say it is don't take failure too seriously. Be like us and just have fun with it or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, well, you said that's the point. Count your blessings.
Yes.
Take stock of reality. Talk to people who like you, and get back on the horse.
Amen. All right, well, that's
Formula
it.
for success.
That's it for our 47th Selling for Life podcast. It could be considered our 47th failure. So check out our website at sellingforlife.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter. So guys, remember, whether you're selling RV hazard flashers or you're trying to convince yourself that 3 weeks in an RV with 6 kids and your in-laws really isn't that bad. One thing is for sure, you're always selling for life.
Oh, that was awesome.